Hello everybody. I know there's been a lot of questions about this bit of gear here. This is the Instek 2000A series scope. This one specifically is a 2204, so it's a 200 megahertz 4-channel scope. I've been trying to provide information to people who've been interested, but hopefully this will at least give everybody a pretty good overview of what's going on. I apologize if the video quality isn't fantastic. This is my first time trying this, so please be gentle if you make any comments. To start with, just the overall construction, it's pretty solid. I don't know if I would necessarily stand on it, but it does seem to have impact plastic on the outside. The case is solid. As I saw from when I opened it up before, it is very heavily shielded, so it could probably take my weight, but again, I'm not going to actually step on it to find out. Couple of things about it that are different from a lot of the other scopes. The knobs are strictly rotary. They are not clickable, so basically they are rotary only. Where needed, they have detents. Other ones are just free spinning, so like this variable knob is just free spinning. The buttons are actually a pretty good feel. They're still a little on the soft side, but they are much harder than the gel buttons that you find on a lot of other equipment. Screen is fantastic, as you can see. It's a very large screen. It's 800 by 600, and once I turn it on, you'll see exactly how clear and crisp it is. I personally don't think that the screenshots and the other items that are seen online so far really do it justice. It's kind of a weird subjective thing, but personally, the screen looks much better in person than it does through pictures. I don't know how else to describe it. Other than that, everything else is pretty standard. There is a logic analyzer, which I do have right here, but won't really get into this very much this time around. It also has expansion modules in the back. There are two. Right now I have my logic analyzer in one. The other one is still free. You can either put like the function generator or the LAN module in there. So overall, there's a number of different options, and let's get to it. All right. Okay, so I pulled in close to it so that we can watch. I'm going to go ahead and set up a stopwatch so we can just see the boot time. It actually ends up being about 32, 33 seconds, but you know, gives us something to do here. So, alrighty, put that there. Yep, and we will hit start and, oops, ready, set. So hopefully this video does that screen justice. It is, it's really very bright in person. I have had absolutely no issues whatsoever seeing anything. It's actually a good screen from pretty good angles. I'm checking it out here, even from below and up high. Overall, you know, really no complaints. So there you go, 28, and it'll do its self-test. Boom, so 33 seconds. Pretty good overall. Can't really complain. I think it's a little bit slower than the Agilent and the Regal, but again, how often are you going to be, you know, really worrying about the extra few seconds there? From a use perspective, it's clearly got pretty much everything you could possibly want. No complaints about any of that. I'm going to go ahead and just hook up off my picoscope here just to get a signal in there. Oops, I want to stay at 500 nanoseconds, and then so you can see that you know, we've got a signal pulling in. It does have auto set. Obviously, you can default everything back to whatever whatever factory defaults are. We'll just run through some of the menu options here. Triggering, you have your normal suite of stuff. You know how you're actually going to trigger. You know what source you're going to come off of. There's your alternate. You know, coupling, slope. You know, basically all your normal triggering options. From an acquisition perspective, I'm going to actually change this so we can get the waveforms per second, because they want you on short record length, which all that means is it's 1 meg rather than 2 megapoints. Not a big deal. Segmented memory. averaging. They do use sin x over x, obviously. There's no way to change that except for, what is that? That's equivalent time. So there's no, just a straight acquisition. It's always sin x over x, basically. They do have XY mode, all the normal stuff they would have there. Let's see here. So if I go ahead and go into measurements, interestingly, there's a bug on mine. They have fixed it in the next version of the firmware, which they haven't sent me yet, that if I hit display all, I will actually crash my scope. Not very cool. It's been fixed in the next version, which hasn't quite been released yet. So you do have gating, just like you do on the Regal, where you can actually gate between your cursors or however else you want to, set up your measurements. I'm just going to add a few measurements here just so we can see. We'll do peak to peak. We'll do RMS. We'll do amplitude. We'll do some frequency, period, rise time, duty cycle, and just for giggles, we'll do fall time too. Not that it really matters. Obviously, you could change your source, so you can actually have multiple measurements from different channels on there. You can see they do actually update dynamically. So, for instance, if I go to statistics and turn them on, those will all continue to update dynamically. You know what? Let me go ahead and just zoom in a little bit so you guys can get a better shot of the screen. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Alright, give me a second here. And voila, there. So now we got a nice close-up on the screen. You can see just by that the quality, the visual quality is quite good, in my opinion at least. That's just me. I like the fact that everything updates dynamically. It overlays. You've got transparency. All the normal stuff that you would expect to see. So we've got measured. We'll leave those measurements up for right now. You've got all your standard math functions. I've been through some of this. You've got your Fourier. It really, not much to say there. I mean, a scope that doesn't have that stuff, you're going to really kind of wonder what's up with it. But it is all there. Same with, your regular math options, advanced math options. So that's all there. You do have go, no go. So for instance, if I do, is it test? Yeah, I know it's a strange way of doing this. So no go when you exit. Violating, we will continue. Compare source, channel 1, and reference mode, auto for now, just to make life easy, simple. And, oops, wait, compare source, channel 1. How do I do this? Go back. Reference mode, auto, there we go. There, now we can set it. Okay, so save it, go back, and then you would enable. So as you can see down here, the ratio is counting. Since this is a straight sine, here I'll force it to drop out. There. So now it should be violating, right? So now I'm going to put it back in. There we go. So you can see that it's still counting up with the violations down there. Shows you the tolerance. It's pretty straightforward, but it's nice. It's actually included. It comes with the scope. So you can break. There is a visual bug here, which I find kind of interesting. You'll notice that it's still got the limits in there. You can't actually make them go away right now, which is kind of silly. So I'm going to default it, and then drop back into, oops, wrong way, 500 nanoseconds, and then bring this down again. The other thing that people have noticed is there's no vernier, there's no fine control. It's kind of annoying. They have added that to the firmware roadmap. I can't say when it's coming, but it has been added. There's been a few things that they've added at my suggestion. One of the upcoming releases will also have, this is without me, the MSO option will also have a CAN decode. And I should mention the decodes, the nice thing about them is you don't pay per decode. You just buy the logic analyzer module, and you get all the decodes included with it. So that's actually kind of nice. The option for the 8-channel, I think, is around $500 some odd US retail, and the 16 is about $800 some odd retail. You can get it for less than that if you just try a little bit. You do have all your standard cursor stuff. I'm not going to go into tons of detail on this because, by now you should know what these do. You can actually change your waveform, so you can do sort of a heat map, which is kind of nice. I know Marmad has for the Regal, he wrote software that'll do this. This will do it in the scope. So basically red means the waveform's covering that area more often, going down to blue, which is less often. This is visual persistence, so I can actually change how long the waveforms stay on to sort of mimic more of an analog feel. You can also change, obviously, the transparency or whatever you need to do on this. So I'm going to quickly jump over to, and pardon me while I get in the camera here, showing you waveforms per second. Alright, so we're going to go to Utility, change, oops, it's actually Demo 1 that I wanted, not 2. Select. Alright, so we're getting this set up over here. Add measurement. Okay, and then I have to, under the acquisition menu, change that to short. And there we go. Okay, so if I menu off, I'm going to pan over again. Oops, sorry for that jostle. So that you can see that we are getting the published specifications of 80K waveforms per second. Now this is going to be a little weird. There we go. You can see that the average here is 80,000. So that is the update rate at 500 nanoseconds. It does change pretty dramatically as you go through the time bases. Pardon me while I try not to trip on anything. I'm going to quickly switch some of the times. So that's at 100 nanoseconds. You can see we drop pretty dramatically. That's 200 nanoseconds. Okay, we're going to go the other way. That's back to 500. Okay, this is 1 microsecond. 2 microseconds. 5 microseconds. And you can see that the update rate has dropped dramatically. 10 microseconds. 20 microseconds. 50 microseconds. 100 microseconds, and basically it kind of blew up at that point. I gotta change the triggering here. And then 200 microseconds. Let's go back the other way. 100 nanoseconds, 50 nanoseconds, 20 nanoseconds, 10 nanoseconds, 5 nanoseconds. See, this is where it starts getting a little wonky now. 2 nanoseconds, 1 nanosecond, and then just for giggles. So we're down at our lowest time base now, 1 nanosecond. So we're still close to 1,000 waveforms per second, which, all things considered, can't really complain. So now we're back to 500. All right, let me swing this back. Okay, and bring this back up. And zoom out a little bit. There we go. Okay, so that's the basics. I mean, we're not doing anything really fancy here. I'll be getting into more detail moving forward. Right now, the main thing was I wanted to talk mainly about the scope. There are a couple things I should mention. This function generator, well, you can't see it now, but here. It does have a dual output function generator. Yeah, don't bother. It's it's like $250, $270 US. It's only 5 megahertz. It only does sine, square, and triangle. It's just not worth it. It burns an expansion slot. It's just, yeah, just don't. It's really not worth it. Again, I will get into the logic analyzer a little bit later, because obviously if I hit bus now, because I have to have that attached. So, but just to show you real quick what that does, I will go ahead and plug this in. What's interesting is when you plug it in, you can actually hear the fan speed up a little bit. So here's your bus. You can change. Right now they have RS-232, I2C, and SPI. And apparently I've got a display bug now. I'll have to check on that. They are adding CAN, and you have parallel, of course. You can change your inputs to whichever channel you want to activate. You do have an event table. You do have a bus display, so you can change that to whatever, your standard stuff. Again, I just got that module yesterday, so I don't have a lot of data on it yet. I actually have to set up a demo board here so I can start grabbing signals and messing with it, but I did want to just, show that real quick. Overall, so far, I have no complaints. From a support perspective, again, I am in the US, so take that into account. Support from Instek USA out of California has been phenomenal. I've been in direct contact with them. They have been taking my bug reports and things like that, getting them to the engineers, getting responses back from the engineers, sending them to me, offering to send me equipment to test as well, like a new function generator and everything. So, hey, that's all great. They do service in the United States as well, so if you are US-based, and you need to have this thing repaired for some reason, it will be repaired in the United States in Chino, California. That was probably the biggest selling point for me, because I knew it didn't have to go back to Taiwan. Overall, for the price, my gut tells me that this scope in a 2-channel configuration is probably more effective to go with the Regal if you only need 2 channels. If you're going to jump to 4, you really don't have a choice except to go to like a Regal 4000 or one of the used Agilents, which are great scopes, don't get me wrong. But price for performance, I think you're going to do better with this. Now, this is me just speaking. I don't have a lot of direct experience with the Regal or Agilent, so again, take that with a grain of salt. I'm just saying that for the price, this thing lists for, I want to say $1,900, and you can get it for significantly less if you start bugging your retailer. Really, check into it. It's a great quality scope. It comes with a 3-year warranty. Although ironically, the LCD is only 1 year. I haven't quite figured that one out. It's going to last you a very long time. Instek's been around since the 70s. They're not going anywhere. And again, the fact that they are US based, that's huge. A couple other things I should probably mention, just because we're here. You do have the ability to set search. So if I hit, oops, let me turn all this off here. So let me just default real quick. And then, oops. All right, so you do have a number of additional functions here. So, for instance, if I am in, it's over here, no, where was that? No. Oh, sorry, I just have to hit search. Let me turn off the cursors. There. So now if I hit search, you have to turn search on. And again, I still have that display bug. That's the option up here to turn it on. You can then change your position, set marks, and then scroll through your waveform to find them. So I mean, you can hop back around. It's pretty cool. I mean, I haven't done a lot with it. I still have to look through the manual a little bit on this, but that is very handy to have. Again, you can play through. You can get your split screen so you can zoom in and out. There are a number of different things you can do with this. So I'm going to go ahead and turn search off. All right, and then turn that off. If you have any specific questions about this scope, please feel free to leave a comment. Like I said, I am very new to this, so I just wanted to make sure people could actually see this thing in action a little bit and see what it was like. If you have something in particular you'd like me to look at or whatever for a follow-up, I am more than happy to do that. So just leave a comment, be gentle, because like I said, it's my first time, and I will talk to you later. Thanks.